Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasura Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasura Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gaja Jashodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanara Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gaja Jashodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Ki Jai Go Paremanandi all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories assembled devotees all glories Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. How can I serve you?
Somehow you wrote yesterday's verse on the board. I guess it was my fault. So I suggest that we chant that one. Because most of the devotees you haven't chanted, they weren't here. And then we just go on to the next verse and transition. Sorry, guys, scramble for our phones. You got it right.
Let's see. Who knows? Could be a double header. Yes, that's the one you sent me. Yes. I got it last night when I got home. Okay. So we'll read 50 as a warm-up to 51. You get 2 verses for the price of 1. And I was just thinking, you're a wordsmith. This can be taken 2 ways. This is an August assembly of the devotees. Yeah. So an August assembly. August. Yeah, I know, but it's August assembly. You know what August means? You don't know what that means? Yes, exalted personalities. In the month of August. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the 7th canto, 10th chapter, text 50 and 51. This is Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. Now we were chanting 50. Should we just read the translation because the purport was read yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. So, should I do word for word and everything, just as if we're doing? Just line by line. Is this Brahma Samhita or the other melody? Okay. Na yasya sakshad bhava padmajadibihi rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam maunena bhaktyopasamena pujitaha prasidatam esha sa sattvatam pati nayasya sakshad bhava padmajadibi rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita prasidatam esha sa sattvatam bhati. Anyone like to chant? Hare Krishna.
Rupam diya vastutayopavarnitam. Rupam diya vastutayopavarnitam. Maunena bhaktyo pashamena pujita. Maunena bhaktyo pashamena pujita. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajarivi. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajarivi. Rupam diya vastutayopavarnitam. Rupam diya vastutayopavarnitam. Maunena bhaktyo pashamena pujita. Maunena bhaktyo pashamena pujita. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajadibhi. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajadibhi. Rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam. Rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam. Maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita. Maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati.
One more.
Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajadibhi. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajadibhi. Rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam. Rupam dhiya vastutayopavarnitam. Maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita. Maunena bhaktyopasamena pujita. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati. Prasidatam esha sattvatam pati.
Translation. Exalted persons like Lord Śiva and Lord Brahma could not properly describe the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. May the Lord, who is always worshipped as the protector of all devotees by great saints who observe vows of silence, meditation, devotional service, and renunciation, be pleased with us. Who's speaking here for 5 extra points? Okay. And should I read the purport? Okay, so text 51. Sehesha Bhagavan Rajan Vyatanod Vihatam Yashaha Pura Rudrasya Devasya Mayenanta Mayaina. Translation? Okay. My dear King Yudhiṣṭhira, long ago in history, a demon known as Maya Dānava, who was very expert in technical knowledge, reduced the reputation of Lord Śiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saved Lord Śiva. Purport. Lord Śiva is known as Mahadev, the most exalted demigod. Thus, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that although Lord Brahma did not know the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Śiva could have known them. This historical incident proves that Lord Śiva derives power from Lord Krishna, the Parabrahman. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunminitam Dina Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the next verse on the board will probably be 59. That's the next one with the purport. Because it just it starts telling the story of Tripurari, Lord Śiva. And I guess 59, so whoever's a scribe, 59 looks like the next one with the purport. Vanchakapatarubhasya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam bhavani bil vaishnavi bil namo namaha. So I'll try to say a few words here. And who knows, maybe I'll finish early enough to tell you about the old country and my trip there. I keep putting it off. So, my dear King Yudhiṣṭhira, long ago in history, a demon named Maya Dānava, who was very expert in technical knowledge, reduced the reputation of Lord Śiva. In that situation, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saved Lord Śiva. So Krishna is saving everyone. It's described in text 50 also. He's the protector of all the devotees. So this is a very important philosophical point as far as who is God? Who is God? Right? Well, we say that, and other people say a lot of other things too, even to the point of the most embarrassing statement that we're all God. That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Oh God help us. We're all God. So, and it's interesting, I was just thinking, people sometimes say, God doesn't exist. Well, in order for you to say that, you must know who God is, to say he doesn't exist. If you don't know who God is, how you can say he doesn't exist? Right? You must know what it is to say it doesn't exist. So it's actually quite an illogical statement. Or the statement that no one knows God, that must mean you know two things. You must know everyone, and you must know who God is. So you're someone, you know who God is, and you know that no one knows God. No, you just walk the other way, because it's a ridiculous statement. It's a ridiculous statement. So, but people swallow it up, hook, line, and sinker, as they say. So here, the question comes up, and what is that? Narayanam. How does that verse begin? Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmuradi Daivata Samatvena Bhiksheta Dandi Purvam Bhavin. Durva means absolutely 100%. So one who thinks that Yastu Narayana Devam, all the Devatas, starting with or including Lord Brahma and Lord Śiva, are Samatvena, on the equal level of Narayan, they're a pasandi, which means an atheist, for sure. They just don't know. They don't know. So there's statements like this. Equate. Yes. And it's also very important to us because it's one of the offenses against the holy names, to think that the holy name is, the other names of the demigods and so on are on the same level. So, but Lord Śiva, Vaishnavanam Yata Sambhu, what book is that from? Right, Srimad Bhagavatam. He's the greatest of devotees. And it says here in the beginning of the purport, Mahadev, he's the most exalted demigod, even higher than Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma comes in the category either of Jiva Tattva, or sometimes there's no Jiva around to take the post, and then Krishna himself has to come and take the post of Lord Brahma to create the universe and so on. But Lord Śiva is above that. Lord Śiva is described in the Brahma Samhita as the personification of the glance of Mahavishnu. When Mahavishnu glances, the picture's right over there, when Mahavishnu glances over the material energy, that glance which you can say activates the material energy, that's Sadashiva, personified. So practically speaking, there is no difference between Lord Śiva and Lord Vishnu. Practically speaking, just as there is really no difference between milk and yogurt. That's what Lord Brahma says, like that. No difference. Milk, you take it, and a little bit of acids turns into yogurt, but is there really, it's no difference. But they're different. They're not different, but they're different, milk and yogurt. And you can't take yogurt and turn it into milk, but you can take milk and turn it into yogurt. So in this verse by Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu is the milk, and Lord Shiva is the yogurt. So a little bit of a turn, and what is that turn? Is being touched by the material energy. Lord Shiva is a source of ahankara, and that's what all the living entities in this material world, that's our beginning of our material existence. That's how we started. Ahankara. And so, you know what ahankara means? Aham, I'm the doer. Kara means doing. So as long as we think I'm the doer, we're in the material world. It's the material world. But actually, because Krishna is really the doer of everything. Maya Dānava prakriti. Krishna's doing everything. But as long as we think I'm the doer, what is that verse? Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma kartamiti manyate. So vimudatma means a really foolish person. V means very much. And vimudatma. Kartahamiti manyate. I'm thinking I'm the doer. I'm the doer. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. From Lord Brahma, he's thinking I'm creating a whole universe, and the little ant is thinking I'm building a little anthill. Like that, just working it off on my little sugar diet here. Building an anthill. But everyone's thinking I'm the doer. So that ahankara, actually that's Mahadev. That's his gift. Like that. And in conjunction with Maya, Devi, the two of them are running this place. The two of them together. That's their service. And Lord Shiva has the service of annihilating everything at the end. Lord Brahma creates everything. Lord Vishnu keeps it all going. But there's a certain time that it all has to be wrapped up and put away like that until the next creation. So that's his service also. And there are many places throughout our literature where there are encounters between Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, and this is one of them. This is Apura, which means long, long, long time ago. Sankarshan, when you think of a long time ago, what do you think of? Like yesterday. So it's all relative according to our body, right? It's all relative according to our body. For us, Dravid and myself, and money, Vandini. When we think of a long time ago, it's different than maybe what you're thinking of. Definitely what you're thinking of, because you say yesterday. As you get older, a long time ago is, oh, I remember 10, 20, 30, 40. Sometimes people say, hello, I said, just like I was gone for a few days, 2-day wedding. You know, so I was sitting around with, there were four boys, all grown up. One of them, I was called to do their wedding about 2 months before the crash of COVID. And so the parents were there, and the mother, she has many relatives who are members of ISKCON in Vancouver. So most all the people were from Canada. They're all in Mexico. Anyways, they're sitting there. So their oldest boy, that was a wedding I was supposed to do. We had it all arranged, and then all of a sudden, so we're sitting there. Where am I going with this story? Where am I going with this story? We're all sitting there. Time. Oh, okay. And they asked me, how long have you been doing this? Respectfully. And I said, 50 years. And I said, maybe you weren't born then, by then, you know. He said, no, we weren't. They're all their 20s. So I go, wow, 50 years. But what's that? It's really nothing. It's really nothing. But 50 years for someone who's 20 or 25, that's like, wow, that was 25 years before I was even born. So according to our body, so Narada Muni's been around a long time. And when he goes, a long, long time ago, there's a story about Lord Śiva, and he was Tripurari, and so this is Purana, long, long, long time ago. It doesn't matter when it happened. That's Vedic history. It's not chronological. We have to get all the dates and all that. And they're completely bewildered by the Vedic culture, the literature, the archaeological records and all. They can't figure it out. They can't figure it out. They just can't figure it out. I'll give an example that Devamrita Swami gave in his book on antiquity or whatever it's called, ancient civilization. Yeah, maybe that was it. You know the Sphinx? Is that how you say it in Egypt? The Sphinx? Sphinx. Sphinx. So it's sitting there. I guess it was a lion head or a human face with a lion body. The Sphinx, right? Very popular, I guess, tourist destination. Oh, let's see the Sphinx and so on. So you look at pictures of it, and along the bottom has all this. It's worn away. These grooves, big grooves. It's worn away. And for quite some time, they always thought it was the wind, the desert wind blowing, just blowing gradually over the eons. It just kind of wears it away. But a meteorologist from America came and took a look at it. And he said, no, it's actually water. So then they figured it all out with satellites and computers and all that, how long ago water was there flowing in that spot. And it pushed the history of Egypt back about 10, 20,000 years. And people got really upset because they have all these museums there and all the plaques about how old the pyramids are and the pharaohs and this and that. But it completely set it upside down. And I don't think it's still officially accepted, but that's science. So, how old is old? That's a big question. But it's really not as important as the lessons we learn from history. So that's what's being brought up here. The fact that this happened so long ago is not as important as what happened. And this is a pastime where Lord Śiva, I'm not going to tell the story because that happens tomorrow and the next day, but it's a situation where Prabhupada says, this historical incident proves that Lord Śiva derives power from Lord Krishna, the Parabrahman. So they're not equal. Lord Śiva receives his power. In fact, every single living entity receives their power from the Lord. Krishna is the source of all energies. So the Jiva or Shiva Tattva or Vishnu Tattva or Shakti Tattva, what's the source? What's the origin? What is that? Sarvakarana Karanam. What's the cause of all causes? What's the source of it? That's coming from Krishna. And Krishna is known as, what is that? Has no equal or known asamurva. No one is equal to or greater than Krishna. There's no competitors. Sometimes they think, the different devatas, they're competing with Krishna. And that's why many times you see in the Indian community, we do a puja and they say, chant everyone's name. They want to get all bases covered because they think they're all independent. Don't want to, chant everyone's name like that. Then you have to explain to them, well, actually, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that because Krishna is the source, and everyone is Ekala Ishvara Krishna. Like that. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's like the root of the tree. When you water him, everyone is taken care of. So it's very, very important because even when you discuss theology, there's a progression there. You know that progression? From animism to polytheism to impersonalism to the supreme monotheism. There's a progression. And it's a very important progression. In fact, until you come to the level of monotheism and a transcendent Lord, you don't answer the most important questions in life. Did you know that? So you talk to someone and they maybe discuss on these different levels, animism, how nature has these personalities in nature, and the spirits of the forest and the this and that and so on, or the devatas, there's demigods you pray to for this and that, and they're controlling the material world, and you get different blessings and benedictions from them. And then you have impersonalism, just all of this personality is illusion, it's just an energy. And then beyond that, above that, the source of all that is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is completely transcendental beyond this material world. And puts everything, just by a spark of his splendor, he puts it all into motion. So you think about it, until you come to that platform, you never ask the questions about who am I really? Where did I come from? Where am I going? Where did everything come from? It's not a question. All you do is want to make sure you're happy in this material world. Right? Or you can say, well, impersonalism is you just cancel everything out. You cancel out your own existence as a person, and you say there's no supreme intelligence, it's just all some kind of energy. That's like saying that you look outside and you see the sunlight and you cancel out the idea that there's a sun. Not very bright. Very good. Okay, there's our English editor. He's got some. Okay. So there's these are steps that people on certain levels of consciousness, that's all as far as they can go. That's all as far as they can go, and you encourage them, but there's something higher. But we all understand that until you come to that level of inquiring about or trying to understand a transcendent person, Supreme Lord, you don't even begin asking the real questions that are important in life, like who am I? Where did I come from? Is there a spiritual stratum? Is personality eternal? These questions are asked and answered only when you come to the platform of Bhagavan, right? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shabdate. There's 3 levels of understanding the absolute truth. You have the impersonal, you have the Paramatma, and then you have Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Śiva, throughout the Bhagavatam, there are many different pastimes and instances. You know, we have the prachetas, the prayers. They met Lord Śiva, and he offered so many very beautiful prayers to Krishna. Who is he meditating on? You see pictures of Lord Śiva quite often. He's meditating. Who's he meditating on? What form of Krishna? Begins with an S. Sankarshan. He's meditating on Sankarshan. Well, he's Sankarshan Das. Okay, he's not meditating. He's meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like that. But it is said one has to be very, very, very careful never to offend Lord Śiva. And it's almost impossible to understand the relationship between Lord Śiva and Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. It's almost impossible. And that's why there's so many perpetual arguments between the Shaivites and the devotees, the Vaishnavas. Because it's just very, very, it's something that only the most exalted personalities in the universe can really understand. And they may not even be able to understand it. It may not be able to be understood. It's on a completely different level. So, but we accept Lord Śiva as Vaishnavanam Yata Sambhu, as the greatest devotee of the Lord, practically non-different from the Lord, who is very, 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 and that comes out in the prayers when he meets the prachetas. He's so happy to see them. He loves the devotees of Vishnu. He's always speaking about devotional service and so on. So I figured I would wrap this up right now, see if there's any questions or conversations, and I may be able to get in a few words about that trip before I forget all about it. Any questions on anything I brought up, just touched on?
I'm sorry, so many of my comments and questions have to do with technicalities of the translation and thing. But we always quote that line, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Shambhu is the greatest Vaishnava. But that doesn't say that. It's a comparison to several other things. Nimna Ganam, just as the Ganges is the greatest rivers, Lord Chuda is the supreme among deities, and Lord Śiva is the greatest Vaishnava, so Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. That's really the subject of the whole thing. But I mean, I'm not good. I probably would just quote that line, understanding it. There's a whole verse there that makes it, coherent and understand. So that's my comment. Because here, Vaishnava, it's just as if you did it in English, it would be similarly, or just as Shambhu is the Vaishnava of all Vaishnavas. It doesn't say he's the best. It's got to go back to the part that. So anyway.
Yeah, and that question comes up. I thought Radharani was the best, or how are the Pandavas the best, or how are the Krishna can have so many best devotees, so many best devotees. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
What was your trip to Scotland like?
Okay, that's what I'm bringing up here. Okay. You're a canny lad. Okay.
Is that how the Filipino accent?
Okay, here we go. So, now I have some pictures here, so maybe next time I come, I'll put them on. I have them on my, what do you call it, tablet, so it's a little easy to see. Now, so you go to Scotland. You been there? How about you? No? Okay. People say, well, why isn't there a temple in Edinburgh or Glasgow? Those are the two big cities. And this is just south of Glasgow. That is the big center in Scotland. It's a rural community. And it's been there for quite some time. And many, many different houses. You know, all these houses. And I thought we were going to be way out in the country somewhere. You just kind of go through this little village called Les something Magao. Les something Magao. And it's famous for coal mining and the location of the, what do you call it? The Center for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You look it up, Les Magao, that's what it is. But you kind of go through this 1, 2, 3 streets of these houses, and the outside is over 100 years old, you know, the stone and so on, and then you kind of, and all of a sudden, boom, go through this gate and the devotees, and they have all these different houses there and ashrams, and they even have a bunch of houses, they Airbnb as part of their business. It's been there for quite some time. And the people stay there. They can go up the hill a little bit and have prasadam with the devotees. They have a prasadam hall with tables and all that. So it's on the listing. And you sit at breakfast in the morning. You get people from China or India or from somewhere in England just sitting there taking prasadam, like that, enjoying it. So it had a heyday. It used to be so many devotees there, and the Sankirtan, so powerful. Apparently, one devotee was telling me that they funded a lot of the building for Shivaram Maharaj's project in Hungary, like that. So there's a skeleton crew, if you want to call that, maybe a half a dozen, like here, brahmacharis and so on. And there's some householders in the area, but they're very, very, very active. Like when I was there, I arrived, and actually the first thing I did when I arrived in the day, that Pradyumna, whom you may know, he was cooking the evening offering. The deities there are called Sri Koda Nitai Mayapur Shashi. That's Gaur Nitai. It's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Koda Nitai Mayapur Shashi. And then they have a Narayan Shila this size. And his name is Tulsinath. Tulsinath. And then a Govardhan Shila, about the size of ours. And then they have a Nishingadev Shila. And a small set of Gaur Nitai on the altar for festivals. And those large deities, they came from Berkeley. They moved from Berkeley to Scotland many years ago. They wanted a change of scenery or something. So like that. Now, it's a farming community. There's a lot of greenhouses. I have a picture of the different greenhouses they have, and they have some gardens and so on. It could use a lot more work. They have a goshala, but no go. Someone was going to donate some cows and forgot. So sooner the cows would come. But a no-show for the no-shala. But they have 2 alpacas. Yeah, so this picture of me walking with it. They take them on a walk. The guests like them. But I was going to say, it's out in the country, but they're actually very, very active. Before I came, they had Rath Yatra in Edinburgh. They had Rath Yatra in Glasgow. They have a very, very active community, congregational members. I did an evening program at someone's house. It was packed out. Very nice devotees, in Indian community and so on. And then, just like we have Krishna Lounge, they have a place called Om Sweet Om. And they rent out this big area. It's, I would say, almost as big as this temple room. Almost as big as above this restaurant this Indian gentleman is going to develop. He bought out a restaurant, been there for years. And the devotees, the president there, Prabhupada Prana, who's been the president there for 25 years, very talented musician. In fact, Mangalananda was just there. And they did some preaching together, gigs, if you want to call it. So he was there. So he's on that level, very, very talented. So they play those kind of music instruments and the harmonium and just chant for a long, long time. Then they had me speak and they had prasadam. So it's very, and then we had Harinam actually before that in Glasgow. And tons of tourists and so on. And then the Sunday feast. Sunday feast is in the middle of the day there, because people have to come from a distance. So and we had a Sunday feast. It was packed out like that. So that was very nice. And there's some pictures here. They have something like 1,000 Shalagram Shilas. You ever hear about this? I have a picture of it. And somehow or other, Prabhupada Prana told me that the previous person who was devotee was there. I forget his name, but caused a lot of problems, and that's what, anyways, he fell from grace. But Shivaram Maharaj mentioned how many shalagrams they have there in Hungary. So you don't have that many, do you? So he took it as a challenge. So Prabhupada Prana said they started sending us to Nepal to bring back big bags full of shalagram shilas. His picture, they got all these shalagrams. And also there's that verse in the scriptures. It says when there's how many, like a dozen or 8 shalagrams in one place, becomes a tirtha. So it's a Maha Tirtha. And they have a beautiful deity of Brinda Devi there also. So in that room they have all the shalagrams. They have Brinda Devi and Mahavishnu. But that's not on the altar. It's near the Pujari room. I was going to say the first night I was there with Pradumna, he invited me to come and help him cook the offering. They have a morning offering and an evening offering. Very simple puja, but they cook for all the devotees and the guests. And of course they do a lot of cooking for engagements. I was telling Bhaktavatsal, the Shakti, these are the most embarrassing pictures. Because if you look at these pictures of their kitchen, everything looks brand new. And it's been there for years and years. And Pradumna said, even when you're cooking for the deities, you're responsible. They clean all the stoves, the floor, everything. And you look at everything, it looks like the day it was bought. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I mean, and there's a little fear of God, or fear of temple president, or fear of the head pujari in the devotees, that we better make sure, you're called out on these things if you don't do this. So Prabhupada told one devotee, it was Bhavananda, symptom of expert management is everything's very, very clean. That's how you know there's good management. Everything's really, really clean. So they have very good management there. And not only the kitchen, but they're just somehow or other, everything is just very, very, very clean. Quite amazing. Very, very nice. But and they have Sankirtan. They go on book distribution. There's a Sankirtan veteran there. His name's Adhoksaja, and he brings the devotees out, down to Glasgow or Edinburgh for Sankirtan a few days a week. They do quite well, and if you go to their website, apparently one way they developed the community was an eco-village. And they have wind turbines, solar energy, and they even have this huge area as a backup with wood, like a big wood stove. So it's all, and just how everything's done, the type of agriculture they do with no pesticides, organic, and so on. And they get all kinds of grants from the government for doing that. So, and they have people coming there at different times for seminars to learn how to, that kind of agriculture. And they have a thing which is an international, there's an organization that people who want to volunteer and work on a farm, there's all listings from all over the world, so they always have 4, 6, 8 people. They stay in a special place, and they volunteer. And they work 8 hours a day in exchange for a room and board. And then I guess 2 days a week they're on their own, but they're just out there working. That's just a cheap. I asked, why do they do this? Well, it's a cheap way to see the country. You don't have to spend anything. And then you go do what you want to do. But during the day, and some of those people have become devotees, over time. And let me see what else. And amazing enough, the weather was good when I was there. They said I must have brought it. Because, have you been to Scotland? Been to Scotland? UK? It's always kind of overcast, you know, and then every day, most days you get some rain and a little sun and back and forth. But it was most sunny the whole time I was there. But you could see that it's an interesting climate like that. So, trying to think of anything else. But it was nice, they engaged me. I was giving class most mornings, leading almost all Mangalartis, Guru Pujas. I got a chance to give 2 istagosis to the Brahmachari ashram. I say that because, there's a picture there. There's actually 2 devotees in saffron, but the others, one was an Indian devotee who works during the day on his computer, and then he helps out with things. And one's another Indian devotee, really nice. He's trying to find a job, because if he doesn't find a job, has to go back to India. You know, so it's kind of not really a brahmachari ashram, it's the ashram. But we had 2 nice istagosis with them, and anyways, it's just a nice community. It was nice, and it was a lot. They're just doing a lot of preaching. Just like here, it's not very many devotees, but a lot's going on. So credit to them. There's a lot going on. Every time you turn around, they got some other program in one of the cities, and people coming out. And just when I left, just Jayananda Maharaj was showing up, and when he left, Chaitanya Charan was showing up, and then when he left, Kripamoy was showing up. They said everyone comes in the summer. No one will come in the winter there, because the weather is so bad. So I said, next time I'll come in the winter. I'll come in the winter. I'll break that cycle. That doesn't matter to me. I'll come in the winter. So any questions or comments, because I might have missed something?
Question. This is buried in my brain. It's from at least 20 years ago, I think, or more. I'm thinking, is this the center where they had this Gauranga program?
Yeah.
It is, right? And there was a devotee there, was it Balabhadra or something?
Yeah, he was the one who fell from grace, and kind of things deflated because of that, yes.
But it was like billboards, and everyone was going Gauranga. They had everyone, they didn't know what it meant, but it was the devotees, and it was like a whole thing, Gauranga.
Yeah, I'll give you a story. When Chintamani, my oldest daughter, and Lalasami, Ashram Maharaj's daughter, they were in high school together, and this and that. They went to Scotland and UK twice, because they wanted. So they were in Edinburgh, Glasgow, just kind of being tourists, and this devotee comes up and goes, "Can you say Gauranga?" And they went, "Gauranga!" Hare Krishna, Prabhu, we're devotees. But they go around getting everyone to say Gauranga, Gauranga. In fact, they went as far as to, you know what a tartan is? A tartan? The clans, different clans. They have different tartans, different patterns and so on. So they actually have one called the Gauranga tartan. Now it's registered with the Scottish Tartan Society. I have a picture of it, what it looks like. And they have one of the rooms there in the guest house, they have Gauranga tartan curtains. But anyways, they went as far as to actually have a Gauranga tartan made. And it's just this is like Gauranga everywhere. To get everyone in the country to say Gauranga. And that was the Sankirtan, like that, greet people. Yep. So, anyways, any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Where? Oh yeah, they record all the classes and everything like that.
You have the video of him giving class there.
That's, I mean, I thought the only downside of the trip was they give too much respect to me. And just because you're a Prabhupada disciple, you could be completely whacked out, but because you're a Prabhupada disciple, they give you all kind of respect. Yeah, can't get no respect here, right? And, familiarity, right? Everyone's so familiar with Davida. Davida, like that. Like Rodney Dangerfield, I don't get no respect, like that. So.
Does that reference mean anything to anyone but me?
Probably better it doesn't. But anyways, there's a whole country over there called Scotland. They're preaching very nicely, and you know, they're
Jimna wrote me about it. Pictures. He was very thankful that he got it.
okay.
So maybe, but when he used to come here, and whenever he came, he would stay at my place several times. He would come with a little donation. So we kind of hit it off.
There you go.
Gauranga!
Gauranga, Haribo. So,
Well, I would insist that it's Gauranga, not Gauranga. Jai Gauranga, Jai Gauranga, Jai Gauranga.
I think there's anything else. You know, the head pujari there, she won the award for the best pujari in the UK. I guess every year they have awards given for different, you know, temple presidents, head pujaris, Sankirtan. And last year she won in that country, in the UK actually, because they're all together. They're underneath there's a board and so on. They're all underneath that, you know. So, but she won the award. You know, very, very simple puja and all that, but everything is immaculate and clean and on time, and just everything is so, you know, it's quite beautiful to see that. So, we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.